Hey friends, welcome to Artist Tree Studio. In today's project, we're going to be creating a fun spring rain scene. I don't know about where you live, but here in Texas, we've been getting lots of spring rain lately, which has inspired this fun drawing. Today's project, we're going to be talking about crayon resist with watercolors. So the tools you'll need for today's project are watercolor paints and water and paintbrush, of course, a crayon, a white crayon, and a pair of scissors and a glue stick.
Imagining a world creatively with artistry.
For tooltip time today, we're going to discuss crayon and watercolor resists. So in today's picture, we're going to be using a white crayon to block off portions of the picture that we don't want the watercolor to soak into. You see, when you cover a paper with the wax of a crayon, it creates a waterproof barrier. And then when you paint watercolor on top of that, the paint can't sink into those areas. And we can use that to our advantage in this picture. Let's take a look. I'm going to demonstrate on this piece of scrap paper how the crayon resist is going to work. So first, you're going to press pretty firmly and make a couple of marks on your paper. This is just a practice, so you don't have to draw anything super detailed. And next, you're going to get some super watery paint, your watercolors, and as quickly as possible, you want to just make your paint strokes across the page. You don't want to go back over your paint a whole lot, because if you watch, these show up really great, but the more I paint over one spot, it starts to disappear. So you don't want to go over it and go over it again. Kind of keep away from your crayon once you've gone over it once. All right, so that's how the wax resist is going to work. Our element of art for today is space. So in this picture, we've created some space by putting in a horizon line that helps us see the depth in the picture. And we also have a background of the sky and the rainbow, kind of a middle ground of the rain falling, and then a foreground of the little girl in the front of the picture. We're also going to talk about our principle of design for today, which is movement. So the movement in this picture is made kind of in two ways, I think. The first is the diagonal lines. They're kind of giving an illusion of the wind blowing this driving rain in this direction. And the other area that I am sensing movement in this picture is with the little girl in her pose. Her arms are stretched out, her leg is kicked up, the umbrella is held out, and all of these help create a sense of movement in the picture. Let's get started. Okay, now we'll begin our actual picture. So first, I'm going to create the horizon line by drawing with the white crayon a little lower than the halfway point on my page. Make sure you use a firm pressure as you press the crayon across the page. I want the rainstorm to be primarily on the left side of my paper. So all of the driving raindrops that I'm drawing right now are going to be on the left side and go down to the horizon line. Some of them can overlap and go over the horizon line just a little bit. Make sure that your rain is going diagonal so that you can add some motion to this picture. Okay, once you feel that you have enough raindrops in your picture, you're going to add some spirals that are squished kind of flat around the bottom of the picture under the horizon line. So some spirals that are kind of smushed. And you can kind of vary up the direction the spirals go, starting in different directions for some of them. That'll add some variety to the picture. Once you're satisfied with your crayon, go ahead and get your watercolors wet. I'm going to start with some dark gray and dark blue in the upper left corner. Remember, don't go over your crayon spots very many times or they will start to disappear. I'm going to be using gradually lighter blue and lighter gray as we get over to the right side of the picture. And I want to leave plenty of room, at least 1/3 of that right side of the page, for the rainbow. Once you've painted everything above the horizon line on that left side, carry that paint on down into the bottom section for the places where the rain is hitting the ground. Okay, now I'm going to begin painting the rainbow. You want to use nice bold colors. It's going to take several layers of paint before that rainbow shows up as boldly as we want it to. On the right side of the picture, on the bottom, instead of putting spirals like the rain is hitting, I'm just putting some wavy lines. The rainbow on the top half above the horizon line is going to be bolder, and on the bottom half we're going to use kind of more muted and not as many layers so that it looks like a reflection of the rainbow. Alright, you've now completed the background of the picture, and once you're satisfied with the vibrancy of your rainbow, it'll be time to move on to the kids splashing in the puddle. Okay, so I'm going to begin with the umbrella, and I'm kind of lightly drawing an oval so that you can see where the umbrella is. And then I'm going to, about halfway down that oval, draw some lines that show the bottom edge of the umbrella curve. And next I'm drawing a line for the top of the umbrella and that little nub that sticks up at the top, and the lines coming down to each point. I also want to draw the bottom part of that umbrella because it's kind of angled up in a way that you can see the bottom. So I'm going to make some more curved lines that meet those at the top. Alright, around here is the kind of handle coming down. And I'm going to draw a little hand. There's the thumb and the fingers gripping that umbrella handle, and the handle sticking out the other side. Okay, next I want to block off the areas where the head and the body are going to be, and then kind of lines where the legs are gonna stick out. Okay, in my picture, I'm going to be drawing a young girl splashing in a puddle. She's gonna look a lot like my daughter, Miriam. And I want you to look at the way I'm drawing her and the pose she's in, but I want you to also feel some creativity here to change your character. Make it you, make it someone that you know. Here, this is her cheek and neck just barely poking out. I wanna show the back side of her head. And she likes to wear pigtails, so I'm gonna draw some bouncy little pigtails. Oh, that's a little low. I'm gonna move that up a bit higher. And then the top of her head and her bangs and the back side of her head where her hair is kind of pulled up. That's her part. Yeah, it's a little low there. All right, this is her back and her coat coming up. It's got a slit in the back of it. And the back side, or the front side of her coat. Her little hand poking out the other direction. I'm just gonna do her fingers and her thumb, keeping it pretty simple. It's just an illustration. See a hint of her shorts, and then her little knee, and a boot standing in the water. And her other leg is sticking out forward like she's kicking in the rain. And there's her foot, her boot. All right. It's a fun drawing, showing some movement. You add a few more little details. And the lines on the inside of the umbrella. All right, I like it. Next, I'm going to paint it with just plain watercolor paint. So you can watch along, but I want you to choose your own colors in your character. When you're satisfied with your painting and you are completely finished and it is dry, then you can cut it out with a pair of scissors. I'm using some scrapbooking scissors that have a nice point. If cutting is challenging for you, you might ask a parent or a sibling or someone to help you out with the cutting because we want it to look pretty neat. So do your very best. And once it's completely cut out, then bring over your painted background and decide where on that background you'd like to place your character. You want it to be balanced, so make it feel balanced with the rainbow. It's on the left, the rainbow on the right. And once you're satisfied with your location, then you can grab a glue stick or whatever glue you have at your house and apply some to the back side. I like to do this on a separate piece of scrap paper to protect my surfaces and make sure that I don't get glue all over the place. and then place it on top of your picture and press firmly. You don't want to rub a lot because you don't want to smear your paint, but press firmly with your hands on top of your cutout until it is firmly in place. And that's it. What a fun little rain scene. Good job, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's spring rain project. If you complete this project, I would love to see a picture of your finished product. So please snap a photo and put it in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for joining us today, and keep on creating.